Welcome back to my channel, guys, and I want to give you a little update on my health. If you have jugular compression or idiopathic intracranial compression or occipital neuralgia, this is a video for you. Okay, I've had 6 spinal taps since November, and it is currently July. So I'm going to just give you a little backstory about me and why I am on disability. I have been a stylist for over 25 years, stood on my legs, my feet for many hours of the day, and I developed bulging and herniated disc in my neck, bulging and herniated disc in my mid-back, and bulging and herniated disc in my low back. I did not practice good ergonomics. For those who don't know what that is, standing correctly, sitting correctly, bending correctly. I didn't practice all of that when I was younger. I didn't even know I had a back. Most of us don't, right? So I worked 12 hours, 16 hours a day in the salons growing up, and my body is paying for it. Fast forward, I went to a neurologist for my back, and I ended up getting surgery on my neck. This is why my voice is this way. So if you don't want to hear my voice, this is part of my disability, okay? First, immediately, I went into surgery for numbness in my hands. I went in to see the doctor for my low back. I ended up with surgery because I told him I had numbness in my hands. That was the only problem. Since I've had surgery, I've had chronic pain in my neck, shoulders, and over the years, symptoms have progressed from my numbness in my lips, my tongue, my face when I wake up, and all of this is after I lay down. After I lay down for a good night's rest, because I'm not going to say sleep because I'm in pain. When I wake up in the morning, everything is numb. Like right now, I can't feel my forehead. It's just, everything is just numb. It started from that, then it went to pressure in my head. So now I wake up with numb tongue, numb lips, numb forehead, numb face, and not wake up, well, I wake up with the numbness, but at night I have pressure in my head, so I can't lay down on a pillow. Every single time my head hits a pillow, it's like I'm on an inversion table, like I'm upside down. Okay, the blood rushes to my brain and or fluid, cerebral fluid. I had to diagnose myself because every time I would go to the doctor, they would tell me, "Oh, your implant is lined up nicely. Nothing's wrong. I don't see why you would be in pain." And I'm just constantly telling them that I'm in pain. They're throwing pills down my throat, and until I decided not to take oxycodone, hydrocodone, and meloxicam, and all these muscle relaxers and pain pills. They were keeping me indifferent and just in a zombie state for the first year after my surgery. So I decided not to continue taking them. That's a whole nother story with how I didn't wean myself off. I just took myself off and went through withdrawals and didn't know that I was going through withdrawals until I called my doctor because I was ill, very ill, and I'm like, ugh, throwing up, can't eat, can't do anything. So let's fast forward. Now this happened, my surgery happened in 2014. It's 2025, guys, so now it's 11 years later. It's too late to sue because the statute of limitations in Florida is 3 years. 3 years after my surgery, no doctor was telling me that I was botched. Okay, maybe 5 years after my surgery, I did have a doctor that told me that I was botched. He has now since been killed in a car accident. Oops, unalived. I only said that word one time. Hopefully I'm not taken down. This video isn't taken down. But it was off the record. So my journey continues, just to find someone to heal, help me heal. It's been very hard because neurologists, neurosurgeons don't listen to me. I did have a voice up until about 3 years ago, and if I talk really loud from my voice, from my stomach, you can hear me, but it makes me tired. One vocal cord is paralyzed, so I have to put out a lot more air to speak than a normal person. So if I'm having to speak loud to you and I have to put a lot more air out to speak to you, I get lightheaded. It just happens. So I'm going down the rabbit hole to find out what is wrong with me. Since the doctors aren't trying to figure out what's wrong with me, I'm up late at night because I can't sleep. I can't lay down. So the only thing I can do is Google. This was back in the day. So I Googled and I found a diagnosis, occipital neuralgia. Whenever you lay on that occipital bone, which is this bone in the back of your head, then that means sometimes you get sensations, I went to my pain management doctor, and he was doing facet joint injections in my neck. Those they hurt. So he was doing facet joint injections, a long needle that goes to your spine and inside of the close to the nerve, but not to the nerve. And he noticed that the piece that was supposed to be like this was slid forward. He took a picture of it and he told me to take it to my neurosurgeon. Well, I decided to take it back to the neurosurgeon, the group that did the surgery, because they should know about the piece. Well, I was put down. Oh gosh, I don't even want to cry. But the doctors really, Dr. Pradhan, he did not do the surgery. Dr. Stephen Parker did it. But Dr. Pradhan told me, well, everyone has an opinion, and the only thing I can do is fuse above and below the implant. And I'm letting him know that I'm nauseated because that's another sign of occipital neuralgia. And he's telling me, and this was around COVID time, around 2020. And I'm telling him, and he's like, well, your spine has nothing to do with nausea. And I've read all of this online, and I know that the spine, you can get nauseated. But he's telling me opposite, just to get him out of his office. So I left, but I never went back. Soon GPT came out, and I started doing a lot of research on my symptoms as they would progress, because as I said before, first things that started happening was just numbness in my tongue and my lips and my face the first few years after surgery, and then symptoms piled on. So I found a diagnosis based on what was going on with me at that time called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, IIH. And that is when you have cerebral fluid build up in your brain and it's not able to escape until you sit up, or it's positional pretty much. It was not positional for all people. Everybody is different. So in my case, when I lay down, I feel cerebral pressure building up in my brain, and I have to sit up to relieve it. So can you imagine laying your head down on a pillow at night, and as soon as you lay down, you have build up pressure in your head. Okay, so every maybe 30 minutes, it takes about 30 minutes for it to build up in my head and become very uncomfortable and thumping and boom, 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 and just, it's just unbearable. Well, I have to sit up. That's every 30 to 45 minutes at night, unless I fall asleep. Now, if I fall asleep, I can't feel it until it's extreme. And when it's extreme, that's when my eyes are tingling, okay? So my eyes are tingling. At this point, if I sleep about 3 hours, I wake up. That's why my eyelids are so swollen. My eyelids tingle, and my eyes tingle as well. And that was back then. Now I have sharp pain in my eyes, both eyes. So, along with everything else. Well, now the symptoms have progressed to, and this is in the present, in the past, I'd say 3 to 6 months, I can't put any pressure on my face. I could usually put pressure on my face and be able to sleep a few hours. Now when I have the cerebral fluid build up in my brain, I can't touch my cheek, because if I lay on my cheek, sometimes I'll just try to lay my head down like this on the bed, and then I feel pressure. I try to put my hand like this to sleep, and any vein that I touch, your whole head is filled with veins. So any vein that any part of my skin that I put pressure on, even now I feel pressure building up in my brain. Just squeezing my cheeks. Oh, and don't even think about lightly touching around the sides of my neck, which leads me to say, well, now that this is another symptom put on top of the other symptoms, I'm revisiting GPT. Now, which makes sense, it's so much smarter than doctors. I have a jugular compression from my surgery. Okay? I have gone to an optoneurologist for the pressure behind my eyes, because Lord knows I don't want to go blind. That's the last thing that I want. And with occipital neuralgia, idiopathic intracranial hypertension, and jugular compression, all three can cause blindness. My eyes bulge. Okay, they bulge. They're not bulging as much because I take a diuretic. Instead of getting my spinal taps, I haven't had a spinal tap since in about 3 months. And then that's because they've gotten me on a diuretic. And a diuretic is a pill that you take, a water pill. And you take the pill so that fluid, like people that have swollen ankles, they take diuretics, water pills. So I have a swollen swelling around my brain, so I take diuretic pills to keep the fluid flowing out of my body. And now, and that wasn't working, solely wasn't working. I had to Google or go to ChatGPT because my doctors didn't do this. So I went to ChatGPT and asked, because I'm touching myself. ChatGPT says, well, you may have jugular compression. And it involves a 3D venogram and XYZ and all these different tests. I messaged my ophthalmologist because he's the one that I'm going to in Tampa. I don't trust doctors here in Jacksonville anymore. I've been going to them for the past 10 years, and I've been kicked along the sidewalk like an old rusty can. So now I go to doctors at Tampa General Hospital. Dr. Drucker is my ophthalmologist. I didn't even know they had ophthalmologists. I've been to an optometrist and an ophthalmologist. I've never been to an ophthalmologist. So he sent me for an MRV, which is to an x-ray of the veins on the inside of my brain, to see if I have any blood clots. Thank God that was negative. I did send him messages suggesting that since that was negative, because I didn't have to see him for a month after the test was taken, to see if he could run more tests between the time that I have taken this test and the time that I see him, since now we have 30 whole days. And he says that he wasn't familiar with the 3D test and all that stuff that I have to take to have the diagnosis of jugular compression. And I respect that. So now I have to find a vein specialist, I don't know, to take a venogram or whatever of my jugular veins. So what is going on, and I know this is going on because I fit the diagnosis like a book, okay? Like I said, any pressure, especially here, I feel pressure like as if I'm laying down now. This didn't used to happen. I can touch my head and just feel pressure build up in my brain, even my forehead. Just any vein on around or on my head that I touch causes a pressure feeling of pressure in my head. It's weird, okay? And it is called jugular compression. Now I just got to find a doctor to listen to me. I'm suffering. I'm suffering. If I could just get someone to listen to me, that would be great. But I've been suffering for 11 years now. And it's not funny anymore because I have grandchildren, I have children. I may not see them all the time, but I want to live to be able to see them watch them grow, whether it's from afar or, I just want to be able to see the sun rise. I want to be able to enjoy life. I've aged 10 years in 2 years. I really have, because I don't get sleep. I don't get sleep. I haven't gotten sleep in, I would say, 11 years. So this message is not for pity. It's to uplift those who may have problems and don't know what the problem is. Be your own advocate. I do have one angel in my life, and that is Dr. John Lambricks. He's my PCP, but PCPs can't go but so far. And he's a pretty smart guy, okay? But he's not a neurologist. He's not a neurosurgeon. So he listens to me, and he does allow me to create my own health path. I do see him next week, and what I'm going to do is get him to send me to a vein specialist so that I can get this jugular compression thing going and up and rolling so that I can get healed. Once I get healed, I can get off of Social Security, because Social Security that's a whole nother beast in my life. Social Security is more stress than it is relief. It really is, because you're sick, and there are certain things you can't do. You're trying to heal, but you're also trying to live a quality life. And disability does not want you to live a quality life. They want you to be sick and die. Ooh, I used another word. I hope that this video is not going to be taken down. But they don't want to see you try to walk and exercise, or exercise to your limits. And I'm not saying go out there and work out at Planet Fitness, and you can go to Planet Fitness if you want, but they may count that against you. If you want to go get on a treadmill and go a eighth of a millimeter a minute, they still will, they'll take your benefits. So you have to stay in and be sick, and that makes you sicker. You can't go out with your family regularly, because if you do, they feel as though you're not sick, and I really don't feel like going out with my family regularly anyway, because I am sick. But the times that you do, sometimes you may feel good enough to go out. Don't get me wrong, I always have pressure. I always have pain. But some days are better than others. So I had my grandchildren and this summer for about 10 days. 9-year-old, 11-month-old. My 9-year-old lifted my granddaughter up. She's almost walking anyway, so she crawls a lot, she climbs a lot. So there was no problem. I have a little umbrella stroller. If she wants to be cuddled and paid attention to, he'll put her in that umbrella stroller and bring her to me. And if I'm sitting on the couch, she can help herself get up on the couch. I have no problems. But the issues are, I do have some challenges with her around the house. But the issues are doing things with them out in public. I want to go and take them to Disney World. Well, I can, but I am not feeling well. So it was my choice not to take them, not because of disability, not them, But I thought, with compression, jugular compression, it's hard for me to regulate my temperature. So I sweat at the drop of a dime. When I say sweat, I mean drip sweat. It's not menopause, guys. Menopause is the jugular compression. When you have buildup in your brain, it's hard for you to regulate your temperature. So going out in this Florida heat is horrible. I can't walk the park because I have low back and mid back issues. Oh my gosh, could you? I couldn't imagine. So then I would have to rent a scooter to go around. And I mean, I'm not against that, because I'll scoot all day long. But I have a 11-month-old and a 9-month-old. 11-month-old, she would be walking by that. I can't do all of that by myself. So I decided not to take them to Disney World. I can't. There are certain things I can't do. As how I am, I want to be able to be healed so that I can do. That's why I started this channel, to motivate myself, to motivate others. I'm a cosmetologist by trade. I used to get up and do my eyebrows, my hair, my nails, my makeup every day, so that I could get paid, because nobody's going to walk in a salon and see this and say, oh, she can do hair. Nowadays they may, but back in the 90s they didn't. I feel bad. I look bad. I want to feel better. And I just want you guys to go on my journey with me. So I'm not going to make this video much longer. If you did stay to the end, I want to thank you. If you didn't, then you missed out on some information about an update on my health. And possibly some information that could help you. But until the next video, I'll see you later.